Hello, welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at some battles again, because honestly I don't think I ever did a battle video in like the last week. But anyway, we're gonna take a look at some battles here today with a team that you can run already in Season 20, because we cannot milk Season 20 enough on this channel. We're going to have a team here with the Feraligatr, the Sasop of Clefable, but also the Wigglytuff in the back. So we're going to have a double buff team with one of the strongest other Pokemon in the lead for the next season. And this team already works in this season, which is kind of ridiculous. So if you want to try and build some Pokemon already, those are the ones that you can build even for this season. Still, Clefable, honestly, super underrated in the current meta, especially having access to the move Media Mesh helps out quite a bit against those Fairy-type matchups. As you're going to see here as well, honestly I'm not even really used to commentating battle videos at this point. We have some lag here as well, and that is going to be not really nice for us, but Swift is coming through from the opponent. We can go for at least one more Media Mesh. Can we reach another one afterwards? It's going to be very, very close, but this one is going to be able to get the shield from the opponent. Final shield going to be gone, and Media Mesh is going to still land against the opponent, showcasing again how strong Clefable is already before the buff, and that is going to be quite an interesting one for the next season, like on how much stronger the buff is going to make Clefable. More force move pressure, more charge move pressure, it is going to be quite wild. Moving on to the next opponent, we're going to have the Quagsire here. Quagsire, a Pokemon where we're going to be able to stay in and go for the Hydro Cannon straight away. Honestly, Feraligatr, I said several times in videos before, I think Feraligatr is going to be the strongest Pokemon for the upcoming season. I just think it is nearly impossible to not build a team with Feraligatr in terms of the Show 6 format, if you really want to compete there, because I think it's just like too strong to use as a Sasop, especially for the upcoming season. So for sure, if you have not built a Feraligatr yet and you're like thinking, oh, is it worth it? It is most likely one of the strongest, if not the strongest one for the next season. It's not even buffed. Anyway, Lanturn is gonna go down here from our Wigglytuff. Lanturn is a little bit of a problem for this team currently. I don't think it's going to be a big problem later on, especially after the Swift buff, because then you're going to have a little bit more charge move pressure as well with the Clefable. But anyway, we are going to be able to go ahead and go for the Hydro Cannon against the opponent Skarmory, a Pokemon that is tricky for this team. Don't get me wrong, it is very tricky for this team, but it's not going to be the case anymore next season because this Pokemon does not exist. And so here we're going to lose, but next season this would not be an issue. Gligar, also a Pokemon that might be a little bit of an issue here this season, but next season is going to be completely gone. Honestly, I can't wait for the next season. It's going to be quite an interesting one there, especially with like Machamp having only needing 4 fast moves to go for 1 cross chop is going to be ridiculous. There's so many Pokemon I'm excited about, and hopefully you're excited about as well. Like the content is going to be quite nice. I am not too sure how much content I can actually get out in the first like 2-3 days of the season, because we have like some people here, but it is going to be quite an interesting season start for sure. I can't wait also for all of the special cups during the season. Like honestly, everything is going to be different, which is like the cool thing. It's not just like, oh, Great League is different, Ultra League is a bit different, Master League. I guess Master League is a little bit the one that kind of still stays kind of the same, because neither Counter or I guess Mudshot a little bit more, but actually I feel like Mudshot changed there. Buffed 1 Pokemon, which is Landorus a little bit more even. Yeah, I don't think it's going to really impact the Master League at all. So at least that's kind of good though for people. I think it's kind of good that the Master League isn't like crazy impacted by it. I think Mewtwo is a little bit worse now this season because of the Sucker Punch buff, but otherwise like definitely Master League kind of stays the same. But yeah, basically can't wait for next season. We have so many different kind of cups coming up as well, very likely. I think we're gonna get this week as well the full season announcement and also Go Battle League announcement, with all the cups that you're going to have to play and like all the extra events for Go Battle League as well. It's going to be great. Anyway, I kind of want to commentate a little bit more about the battles here as well, because I see a lot of people complaining about me talking about random topics, which I just did, and so we can actually now take a look at the battles. So, we're going to have a very decent lead there of the Deoxys against us. We are staying in here for a little bit to weaken up the opponent's Dugong. We kind of want to swap out eventually though, and I'm going to swap out into the Wigglytuff. Why do we do this? Because our Clefable is actually going to be able to resist counter from the opponent's Deoxys, which is not going to be a Pokemon next season again. Very, very bad next season. And so, because we resist counter there, it's better to now go into our Wigglytuff, which is going to take neutral damage instead of the resisted damage that the Clefable is going to take. Anyway, here we're going to see already Icy Wind coming through, gonna get the attack drop onto them as well, so I can now swap actually into the Clefable, which has a little bit more bulk, which can resist the counter, and Psycho Boost very likely coming through here, not really doing any damage. In comes the Sableye, we can go for the Media Mesh bait. And I should be able to swap out now into my other Pokemon, which is going to be able to also now outspeed the opponent, which is going to be quite nice as well for us. We most likely going to have to try to overfarm by a bit here against the opponent as well. I would imagine that they're going to use a shield against the Hydro Cannon that is coming here through, but we are gonna still be in a very solid spot. I can use another shield here. It's going to be another foul play. Foul play coming through, but we can overfarm again even a bit further. Go for the Hydro Cannon. I think it's actually a CMP tie against the opponent as well, which is great. And so the opponent is going to be forced to go into the Deoxys. I go for the Crunch, and the Crunch is going to be enough to definitely get them into range where I can now farm them down. Moving on to the next opponent, we're going to have the Sandslash here against us. Sandslash is going to be a Pokemon that we can definitely beat, and then we're going to see here as well the Altaria swapping in. The cool thing here is we're going to be able to have two good Pokemon against them. Maybe I should have even went for my other one. Here the benefit of having Clefable is that Clefable is going to be able to at least go for a neutral or medium mesh against the opponent's Sandslash, which can be very beneficial for us. But I could have played a little bit better most likely as well, getting more energy on my Clefable. And then charging maybe the Moonblast would have helped me out a bit, but I thought maybe I could one-shot the opponent's Altaria, but I couldn't. Altaria is also, by the way, one of those Pokemon that are very likely going to be a little bit rarer next season because Sky Attack got nerfed, and so this Pokemon is definitely, like in my opinion, Altaria is gone at that point. It just takes too long to get to a Sky Attack for this Pokemon, so I would be very, very much surprised if Altaria has a comeback next season, especially with a lot of Fairy types being around. I could see other Dragon types having a little bit more play next season as well. So we have to see what is actually going to be. Like, honestly, Dragon types are a little bit tricky next season, generally speaking. I don't think the meta is really the right one for it. Definitely not as great as the current one is. But we have to see on how things are going to go. But very likely something that has awkward tail coverage is going to be a bit better in the meta where Clodsai is one of the key players for the meta. Moving on to the next opponent, we're going to have the Annihilape in the lead. That's going to be great for us because we have two Pokemon in the back that are going to be good against us as well. I'm going to go up to 5, go straight for the Hydro Cannon as I'm going to catch the move onto the Greedent, and that is totally fine by me. I can swap onto the Clefable, and Clefable can hopefully go for the Moonblast here, even in time before they can go for the Body Slam, and very likely going to be a shield coming up from the opponent, but they don't, and so they're going to get rid of all the energy they just tried to get, which is ridiculous. Let's see what's coming in next. It's going to be the Dewgong coming in. We can try to go for a Meteor Mash here. Both are going to be fine. I didn't know that I would be able to reach the Moonblast in time, but this is still doing a ton of damage against them, so I'm okay with that. We let the move go through. Very likely going to be the Icy Wind, which we can still take. We are still forcing them to go for another charge move, and the Moonblast is going to still connect and do a ton of damage. So much damage that we can actually swap on and try to go for the full farm now, which in hindsight very likely was not the right call. They go for the Icy Wind though. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, we have two shields, we have Charmer on the back, and both Pokemon are kind of weak to the Charmer as well, which is kind of ridiculous. So Wigglytuff is going to be, honestly, like Wigglytuff, I would imagine is going to be a very common one next season as well, just because of the Swift as well. Like, Swift Drop is kind of ridiculous on it. I could see like maybe even an energy decrease of Charm in the future. I could see them definitely nerfing Charm after the next season. I think that is definitely the right call to do as well with Wigglytuff. I honestly don't really want to see Wigglytuff in every single meta again. But yeah, we're going to get out here the opponent's Annihilape. And this is like the beauty of this team. If they swap out Annihilape, which is currently quite common, of course, not really in the next season, we are going to be able to just retaliate with the Wigglytuff and try to catch something like the Night Slash on it, which is kind of hilarious. And so here we're in a tough spot, like the opponent's in a tough spot because we have a ton of energy onto our Feraligatr. We're gonna go for the charge move here so they get a little bit less energy on it as well. And we can now align our Pokemon perfectly as we can reach out for that Hydro Cannon to force a shield from the opponent. Let's see if they're going to go for it. They decide to do exactly this, as we can use the shield as well, as we have to use the shield as well. We're going to try to reach for another move as well here against the opponent. It's going to be a weird CMP tie here, which is not supposed to happen like this, but it is fine as I can connect the move. It's going to be a Gligar in the back, and I can swap out here into my Clefable, trying to reach out for that Meteor Mash to knock out the opponent. Very likely gonna get the shield, but I should have another Hydro Cannon stored now onto my Feraligatr, and I have to hope this is going to be enough. They're going to overfarm by quite a bit here as well, as they're gonna go for the Aerial Ace. This might be a mistake if we can reach another move in time, which we cannot. Great play by the opponent now to go for another Aerial Ace, but it doesn't really help them. They should have went for the dig, very likely. We can go for the knockout here, as they had the Aerial Ace stored, and we have to hope that we can still knock out the opponent's Skarmory, which we will be able to do so. So for Relegator against the Skarmory, that's going to be a lead where you definitely want to stay in, as your backlane is going to be very weak against it. In comes the Annihilape here, and of course you kind of want to try to catch a move here and keep the energy on our lead, because the energy is going to be quite nice against that Skarmory. As the opponent gets a boost, it does not really matter too much here. Charge move coming through from the opponent. Sandslash is not going to be too worrisome, as we're actually going to be a little bit lower on health, which is great because now the opponent gets less farm with that Skarmory, while we still we're not going to be able to reach the Icy Wind, which is not ideal. Icy Wind damage actually has more impact than you might expect. It barely does any damage, but gonna put them into range where Hydro Cannon is going to be enough to knock them out, and that would have been definitely a crucial one. So the Sandslash boost actually helped the opponent quite a bit, but it doesn't really help them if there's a Poliwrath in the back, and so we have double fighting against double Fairy, and this is looking fairly decent for us. But the game is still not over. They are going to be able to go ahead and shield up that Moonblast very likely. Yeah, no, they're actually going to let the move go through, which is also a smart play actually, because now they're going to be in a position where they can go for the full farm down, and that is not ideal, because we are going to be able to get them only into the yellow health here. We have to hope that we can still go to 2 Hydro Cannons here. And as it's going to be a CMP tie, both of us have a shield, we should be able to win this one. While the opponent can still go for a charge move here, we are gonna be able to go for our own Hydro Cannon, and this is going to be enough to knock them out, and we can move on to the next opponent. So, we're going to have a Wigglytuff on the lead. That is not ideal. We can swap out into our Clefable, which would be able to nearly one-shot them with a Meteor Mash. This is going to be great for us, as this is going to be able to now get the shield. We can try to go for another one here afterwards, which does not work out, but we can use a shield against the opponent. It's going to be the Icy Wind, and they're very likely going to swap out here soon, and I am going to be able to still get to the move off. I don't know why I did this in such a weird timing, but it's going to be fine, because now it's Wigglytuff against Wigglytuff, and we are gonna be in a solid spot. In comes the Azumarill, and that is okay for me. I am gonna go for the Swift, which I would be able to reach one fast move faster next season, which is going to be very, very good for me. But as you will see here as well, the opponent is gonna try their best to go for another charge move. It is going to be the Hydro Pump coming through, and we will see the Charger Bug in the back. That is just kind of hard wall to me. I can still try my best here. I'm still gonna go for a Hydro Cannon. Does it knock them out? It does not knock them out, because they're going to go for a shield. I can still overfarm by a bit, but I'm not too sure if this is going to be enough to flip this matchup. Hydro Cannon coming through, but honestly, like, Feraligatr is such a strong Pokemon. Is going to be able to take the knockout here. Can we still knock out the Azumarill as well? That is ridiculous. We had an electric type against our water type, but Feraligatr does not care. Final battle for today. Let's see what they're going to have here. We're going to have a Talonflame in the lead, which is going to be a very good lead for us, as the Hydro Cannon is going to come through here. This is going to be enough to get the knockout, but they of course use a shield here, as we're going to give a shield as well to the opponent. Flame Charge coming through, I'm totally fine with that. If they want to stay in here, they're going to lose that matchup no matter what they want to do. There's no way of them going being able to realign themselves. They're gonna be able to go for another fly here, and they are gonna go down if they're gonna go for another fast move, which they are, and so I am going to be able to go for the Hydro Cannon, knock them out, have a bit of energy as well now left on my Feraligatr as I swap out into the Bastion. And I don't even need to win this matchup. The only thing that I need to do is here to try to get a ton of damage onto them. As I swap out into the Clefable, I make a huge mistake. As I swap out into the Clefable, and they swap out into the Azumarill, I make a huge mistake by going into my Clefable here. Of course, as we swapped at the same time, it is not really the biggest mistake, but I really would have liked to have the Clefable against the Bastion, as we have neutral coverage here with the Meteor Mash, which would hit for quite a lot of damage. But we are not really able to do that. We are able, though, to go for 2 Moonblast and get a ton of damage and knock out the opponent's Azumarill, as we can still reach that Meteor Mash. This should kind of seal the deal. We should be able to just go ahead and swap out now into the Wigglytuff. We have 3 Pokemon left, and we should get to another Swift here. Swift should be enough to knock them out. I think we can easily survive a Stone Edge, and so this is going to be it for the final battle for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you want to see some more battles with Pokemon that are going to be top tier next season, then let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.